American politicians are finally waking up to the literal Islamic takeover of the United States, and Tommy Robinson is sounding the alarm as only he knows how to do. Just FYI, did you know that in Texas, in the last 5 years, it has gone from 300 mosques to over 500 as they have signaled out Texas, the location to start the takeover? Thank God people are waking up. Let's hear what he has to say.
Yesterday or 2 days ago, I produced that same. So when we spoke to Congress, I said, let us video it. And they said, this is a private seminar with Congress. I said, okay. So we,
For those of you who don't know, this is Tommy Robinson. He is a prolific anti-Islamic takeover activist who has been branded as far right, and he's seen what's happening in the UK, and he's not interested in it coming to America. And boy, oh boy, I think he says a lot of what we are thinking.
aspects of Sharia, infiltration, deception, migration. These are all parts, how they operate, what's going to happen to America unless you wake up, all these things. But when I come here and I went to Dallas and I went to different cities and I saw the same things I've seen in Britain. I saw the start of the Islamization of America. The more I looked into it and I saw the growth just in Texas from 300 mosques to 530 mosques in 5 years. 600 active Islamic organizations working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to change the face of Texas. Texas has been chosen, I believe, to take the heart and soul out of the United States of America, because if they take Texas, they can take America. And this is a battle. If they can take America, we've got no chance. And if we lose, it affects you, because I've always said, if Israel falls, Europe falls. If Europe falls, America falls, because Islam has its eyes on the world. It wants to conquer the world. It's not about Iran. It's not about individual nations. It's about them conquering the world. So when I was worried, I was concerned about the United States with what I was seeing and hearing. And then I met the congressman, and I met wide awake men who are getting educated, who are learning, who are forming a resistance while you're at a 1% population to fight Chip Roy, who hopefully will be the next Attorney General of Texas.
This is good news because we are all waking up. The world is waking up, and it can feel like politicians are very slow to understand this and that governments are slow. But what Tommy's saying here is no. Guys, there's a pushback coming. Welcome to the pushback, by the way. I'm Meira K, your host. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you have had enough. If you have found your people. But this, guys, is exciting because people are waking up.
He fully got it. Like, I mean, I've done this for 30 years in Britain. We've had jihad, we've had war, we've had rape, we've had all these problems coming out of Islam, and we've not had one single politician, not one, since the time of Churchill, that has opened their mouth about Islam. Out of 650 politicians, we've had 26 children blown up in Manchester. We've had soldiers beheaded. We've had 52 bombed in the London Underground. We've had all this jihad in the name of Islam, literally quoting the Quran. And in all of that, not one single member of parliament has opened their mouth in parliament. Yeah. So to come here and meet congressmen, including high-ranking congressmen, to have individual meetings with different senators who are wide awake. I explained after my presentation to those members of Congress that if you were in Britain, every one of you would have been arrested and detained by our police for what you've said on social media. Yeah.
Isn't that insane? Isn't that just insane that you would literally be arrested in the UK for saying this stuff and there isn't one politician? But thank God America actually values freedom over this and are really seeing this just can't happen.
Of Islam, literally quoting the Quran, and in all of that, not one single member of parliament has opened their mouth in parliament. Yeah. Also, I'd rather talk about my work and the work that I've done and have a discussion. I don't know how many of you know my full story. I'll give a brief little history. I was born in Luton Town in 1982. Luton's a rough town with lots of problems. When I was born, we had one mosque. We now have 45. I've seen the change. Yeah? I'm not here, as Dr. Bob said. I don't talk about what I've read. I don't talk about what I've listened to. I talk about my life experience. It's what I've seen. Yeah, I've seen the problems that are coming. I've seen the effects. I've seen the weakness and the inability by government and police to deal with these problems. I've witnessed it all. I've had cousins who are victims of rape gangs. I've had friends' fathers who are murdered by Muslim gangs. I've seen every single part of it, and I feel like I'm standing here now. Obviously, I started my activism in 2009, where I started a street protest movement called the English Defence League. We were, how shall I say, we were a rowdy bunch, but we were an angry bunch of young English men who were fed up with the rape and prostitution of a generation of our kids. All of us in every town and city knew someone affected by those gangs. As I said, in Luton, I had a cousin, but I knew so many people. And I started this street protest movement And I got a quick lesson on politics. I didn't understand politics, or I didn't care about politics or media until that point. I was passionate about making money. I was passionate about succeeding. And at the time of starting the English Defence League, I had 7 houses, 2 businesses. I succeeded. I sometimes wonder where I'd be if I hadn't started opening my mouth about Islam. I'd probably have 100 houses, but we was doing well. But then it became a point where I understood that it doesn't matter how much money we make. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I can move. I had moved. I'd made it out of the town. Like everyone in Luton, if you make money or you can succeed, you get out of Luton. Everyone gets out of Luton to get away from the problems. But then those problems are coming there. And when are we going to stop running? When we're on the beaches? Because America needs to realize this. Many Americans, you sitting here now, or many in towns and cities, you may not feel affected by this. You may think, that's in New York. That's in New York. Trust me, it's coming. Okay. It's coming, and it comes quick and it comes fast. And your town will change like that. And whilst it's happening, people will be too scared to speak about it, as they were in the UK. So for 30 years, they'd managed to silence the British population through the fear of being branded racist. The accusations and words of racism and extremism, it's a genuine fear, because it's not just that. It's the fear of being attacked, violently attacked. It's the fear of losing your job. It's the fear of affecting your social circle. I stand here now, 2 weeks before I come here, I was put on the front magazine of ISIS's latest magazine to be killed. So I got my first fatwa. Do you know how long I've been trying to get a fatwa? I've been working hard for 15 years, and it's took them 15 years, yeah? It took them 15 years. And some people are saying, how come you're still doing events? How come you're telling people where you are? I always said, if you worry about consequence, you'll never bring about change, ever. And I'll explain that there was one time 3 or 4 years ago when I worried about consequence, and I let myself down. I let my cause down.
This is actually such a significant statement. If you're afraid of consequences, you'll never make a change, because there's always something afterwards that could go wrong, and you never know. But if you actually see something that needs to be changed, you deal with it, and you'll deal with whatever comes. You end up dealing with it. I mean, I can't imagine. I would never, ever, 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 ever have started this channel talking about what I'm doing now if I thought about what that would mean for me in the future. Thank God it's also meant good things, but I would never have done it. I would have been too afraid.
Was when I refused to release the information which I got imprisoned for last year. But I want to start off just talking about what I found when I started the English Defence League. I found in every town and city I went to, I found families. And people say, what drives you on? What makes you keep going? I've met the families. I've met the daughters.
Right.
I've met the fathers of these girls who have been raped, kidnapped, tortured in every town and city. So
it's just unbelievable that so many females have been raped, and yet, like, this isn't the biggest issue that we're all trying to fight and deal with. You had the Me Too movement that basically destroyed everything because of workplace sexual abuse, literal workplace sexual abuse. And you have grooming gangs designated to go out and rape young girls, and no one does anything about it.
Travel around, and do you know, it's insane when you sit down. I went to the city of Blackburn very early on. I met a father, a brother, and a family. Their 13-year-old daughter had been missing for 3 or 4 days at that time. They're calling the police are doing nothing. And sometimes people talk about the violence that was on the street sometimes in those movements. And the next day we had a demonstration in Blackburn, and it was kicking off with the police. And I went down to try and calm down our supporters. Do you know who was at the front kicking off with the police? The girl's brother. The girl's brother. So when you see these things, I always think, you don't actually know what's going on here. You don't know what's gone on. And you've had a generation of kids who have been taken, kidnapped, raped and murdered in towns and cities. And whilst it's happened, their parents have been attacked. Their families have been attacked. No one's been there to support them. So I want to take this opportunity to talk about my work and what led me to that work. As I said, I was a street activist. I wasn't political.
This is what's going on. This is what's going on across the UK, across everywhere where the Islamic takeover tries to come to. And this is what American politicians are awake to. Again, is enough being done? No. Is there a very complicated constitutional thing that needs to be figured out? Freedom, religion, etc. Yes. But there's a blueprint, a direct blueprint of what will happen to your cities if you don't demand of your politicians change. And thank God politicians are starting to see that something needs to be done. Thank you for your attention to this matter.